what is going on, guys? How y'all doing tonight? This is the Club of the Man 1993, and we are here, not live, but pre-recorded. Catching up, though, on last week's episode of Monday Night Raw. I am 2 episodes behind, as again, I was on a 1-week hiatus, but I am trying to catch up. So I am going to, of course, start with last week's episode of Monday Night Raw, January 9th, 2023. And it took place in Birmingham, Alabama. We had just us getting some moves closer up to Royal Rumble. We also, for a good chunk of the last hour, I believe it was, had a tag team turmoil to determine the number 1 contender for the Raw Tag Team Championship. Not both titles, just the Raw Tag Team Championship. And of course, the winner of that tag team turmoil will be facing the Usos for the Raw tag titles only at Raw is 30, which will be taking place next Monday, January 23rd, 2023. On SmackDown, there is going to be a tournament between the tag teams on SmackDown, and that will get a number 1 contender for the SmackDown tag titles. So very interesting there to see what they do if they are going to tease the Usos as one of those titles, or they're going to have them hold on to the titles until WrestleMania, where most likely Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn will dethrone the Usos. But of course, we will wait and see. But let's roll and talk about this episode. It was a decent episode of Raw. Again, between like a lot of these storylines starting to kind of drag out a little bit, it feels like there's been a little more filler on Raw lately. Like, especially the stuff they do with the Bloodline. You know, they're having the Bloodline on both shows, which, okay, it's kind of because Kevin Owens is supposed to be on Raw, but he's also flown between Raw and SmackDown right now. Okay, I get that. But why does everything with Kevin Owens and the Bloodline on Raw feel like filler, but it feels like storyline progression on SmackDown? It's strange. I mean, because really coming out of this, the thing that I really enjoyed probably the most was just, again, the promo with Dominic Mysterio. Dressing up all badass in his flannel, his shades, his purple bandana covering his mouth. Again, talk about how tough prison was for the 30 minutes he was in prison. That stuff was entertaining. Again, I keep saying this, and I will continue to keep saying this. Dominic Mysterio, yes, may be a chicken shit heel, but his character work as a heel is just outstanding. You cannot deny his ability. His wrestling ability, it's iffy because, you know, all characters, all heel characters have to wrestle like cowards. Well, some, not all of them. But again, he's the type of guy that his credibility is really being backed up by his character. But again, we will talk about that when we get to that. But so I more so for this episode of Raw, more so watched the highlights instead of the actual episode. So I'm grading this based off of the highlights that I saw. But again, let's roll in and talk about this episode of Raw. So the show opened up with Kevin Owens coming out, thanking the crowd, talking about challenging Roman Reigns, when JBL came out. Now, recently I've been thinking, it had been a while since they had JBL and Baron Corbin on TV. And I wondered if maybe Triple H is just, you know, not really seeing much with this JBL and Baron Corbin thing, because it's something that should work, but it's not really working altogether. I mean, I won't say it's not working. It's more so just not completely setting the world on fire. It's like an okay Baron Corbin thing, rather than being a horrible Baron Corbin thing. And that's what I keep saying. The reason why most of I don't think I've given any episode of Raw or SmackDown like anything less than like a C or a C minus since Triple H took over is one thing, again, that I can still appreciate about these episodes that aren't, you know, that mind-blowing like this episode of Raw, is, again, the fact that they're not purposely insulting me. But anyways, JBL and Baron Corbin come out, and he trash on the crowd, and, you know, they also raise how Baron Corbin's been the only one in the past 3 years to get a pinfall victory on Roman Reigns. And then Corbin comes out and starts, you know, talking all trash. Yeah, you got no chance because you're a loser. I'm going to win the Rumble and beat Roman in the main event of WrestleMania. And during this segment, like, Kevin Owens is doing, like, clearly what all of us seem to want to do anymore when Baron Corbin comes out. Just turns around and just head desks the turnbuckle. And just, again, if it wasn't for Dom, I would have had that shot of Owens, like, head desking the turnbuckle as this thumbnail. But then finally, he then, of course, JBL knows, and he yells at KO. But then Owens like, I'm sorry, that put me into a coma by talking for 3 minutes and saying absolutely nothing. I want a match. And then JBL accepts it. Corbin and Owens have a match, and it was just a match. Owens won the stunner. Afterwards, the Usos jumped in and attacked Kevin Owens. And, of course, Owens was breaking out of it until Solo Sikoa showed up. And, again, just even though, and then just tried to beat down on KO. But KO, though, kind of got the upper hand here, as he grabbed he had a shoe shot because thanks to Mike Rhodes' shoes, and he grabs a chair and he runs off the Usos, and then Solo Sikoa tries to go back after KO, but then the Usos hold him back, and then Adam Pearce and the rest of the crew come out trying to get everybody to calm down. Even though, okay, what's also kind of bothering me about the stuff again with the Bloodline on Raw is that every time they crash, Adam Pearce is like all like, you know, pissed off. It's like, okay, he's pissed off that the Usos keep crashing Raw, even though, again, they have the right to. But if that's the case, then why are you not doing more than what you're doing? Like, that doesn't quite make sense to me. But we have that. And, of course, when the Usos were leaving, Adam Pearce tells them about the Tag Team Turmoil match. But then he also says Solo's staying because he's got a match against Dolph Ziggler. And then he asks his security to escort the rest of the Usos out of the building. Then we have Alexa Bliss. Do we have a recap first of her attack on Bianca Belair previous week? She says how Bianca may be champion, but she's the only one here because Bianca chose to run and hide. Not because she's afraid of Bray Wyatt or Uncle Howdy, because Alexa Bliss is the face of evil. And she hasn't felt this good in a really, really long time. She's finally taking control, and she's the one in charge, and she'll use these hands to tear a scar into Bianca's face and take the title. This leads to Uncle Howdy coming out and save day. Him and Alexa just stare each other down and just laugh at each other. As again, this stuff with Bray Wyatt and Uncle Howdy again is just dragging. Again, as long as Triple H is in charge, I know the payoff is going to be worth it, but dear God, it's dragging. It's like Uncle Howdy comes out and he makes his way like so far up the ramp, and then it's like, cut! He'll get a little further next time and whatnot. And I was like, oh goodness, come on. But yeah, so Alexa is now calling herself, she's calling herself the face of evil, as again, she's embracing, her being possessed. So again, they're going back to her darker, like, Harley Quinn type gimmick. Like I said, we'll see where it goes with that. Again, it gives her a different character. Again, she desperately, again, as I keep saying, need a different character. Because again, her as a babyface, yeah, she was popular, but again, she had no character as a babyface. Literally no sort of character as well as a babyface. But we'll talk about, of course, in the next review of Raw, when I catch up from last night's episode of Raw, as to where, of course, we went next with all this. But obviously, of course, eventually, this whole stuff with Bray Wyatt and Uncle Howdy is going to have a big payoff. Maybe we can get some more development in the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match. Not the Pitch Black match, the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match. So, we will see. Bayley took on Mia Yim since Mia Yim came to the aid of Becky Lynch last week. Match was fine. Bayley won with the backslide and her feet on the ropes. I believe later on Mia Yim tried confronting Bayley and wrestled damage control but got beat down to 3-1 beatdown. Okay, why did you go there? I do not know, but just a filler match so we get to more with Bayley and Becky. Who last night on Raw, which we'll talk about in the next review, set up a match for Raw 30 between the two of them, which should be good. Anyways, we are then told that Johnny Gargano is out injured and he's nursing a grade 2 sprain. And apparently he was supposed to be in the tag team turmoil, probably with Dexter Lumis, I'm guessing. Because I don't think Tommaso Ciampa is ready to come back yet. And I'm still pretty sure when he comes back, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano will be reuniting as DIY. That's as long, of course, as Vince is in charge. But anyways, Johnny's wife, Candice, was interviewed saying how Johnny's bummed, but they're prioritizing his safety. She's looking forward, though, to entering the Royal Rumble, which will be her first, I believe this will be her third or fourth Rumble for Candice, I think, as she was in 2 or 3 Rumbles when she was in NXT. So this will be her first Rumble on the main roster. But then Rhea Ripley comes around, then mocks her as delusional. They bicker back and forth, and then Candice then says, fine, I want a match. And then they agree to have a match later on in the night. Then we have this promo with Austin Theory, who, of course, was just coming off a victory over Seth freaking Rollins on the first Raw of 2023. He says, we have to accept the truth, that the now is forever. And he says, where is our hero, Seth Rollins? I thought he was supposed to outclass him and beat him. But what happened? Seth was outclassed, outshined, and taken to school by the U.S. champion, Austin freaking Theory. Then it brings out Seth Rollins, who came out on crutches because he had suffered a knee injury in the match he had against Austin Theory for the U.S. title. Until he's halfway down, then he springs up and he plays air guitar with one of the crutches, obviously showing that he's better than he looks. I say that because he even got into the ring, and he even mentioned again that he's fine, but he's not 100%, but he will be ready for the Royal Rumble. And of course, and he will go on WrestleMania as Undisputed Universal Champion. Rollins says that he will be he just came to the ring, though, to hear Birmingham sing his song, which I still say is the only reason, again, why Seth Rollins is a babyface. I keep continuing saying I do not get it. But then Bobby Lashley's music hits. And Bobby Lashley returned since he was fired last month. Well, he ended up being just suspended. But anyways, he came out to the ring, and he basically goes. Seth gets out of the way, and he goes straight, and he brawls with Austin Theory. So, and then he said, he gets on the mic and says, "Doesn't matter who's in the Rumble because he's back. His suspension's over, and he can't wait to win it." So Bobby Lashley is also in the Rumble match. Candice LeRae lost to Rhea Ripley in their match, which was, was what it was. Bobby Lashley was being interviewed backstage until MVP rolls up and tells him to go away because he has business to talk with Bobby Lashley. He then offers a handshake, but of course Lashley doesn't accept it, as of course MVP turned on Lashley for Omos earlier this year. MVP asked for some gratitude for getting him reinstated, as he claims he was the one who got Lashley reinstated. And Lashley's like, "I'm grateful, which is why I'm not clobbering you yet." MVP, though, will take it and says he's got Cedric and Shelton back on side to take care of some business, which we've seen some teases with MVP lately. Seen him backstage in the background. Said he was talking with Shelton and Cedric, teasing the Hurt Business reunion there. But then Bobby says, though, nope, not going to accept it. And then MVP's like, okay, but if you change your mind, know where to find me. So, starting some heavier teases of the Hurt Business there. Again, it has been a while, because again, they briefly tried to bring them back together, but at the time it felt like the steam had ran out. But, you know, absence makes the heart grow fonder. You had turned them all babyface. You could reunite them. Just saying. But we, of course, got an even bigger tease, you know, on the next episode of Raw, but we're not there yet. Again, we get some hype for Money in the Bank being in the UK this year. Then we have another Cody Rhodes vignette as well. And then Dolph Ziggler is being interviewed backstage, saying the bloodline went too far. He's here for revenge and payback, which is set up for his match with Solo Sikoa. But then Mustafa Ali rolled up. And he chews out Dolph. Because Adam Pearce told him they could have an opportunity in the tag team turmoil, but Ziggler instead chose to have a singles match with Solo Sikoa instead. Dolph explains that they could probably be a pretty good tag team, but tonight isn't about tag teams. It isn't about championships. It isn't about Ali. And he hopes he can understand that. And then, of course, don't know if that's going to set true or not. But yeah, I keep thinking this too, because there is a segment on Raw I'm going to mention in my next Raw review, but is anybody else bummed we didn't really explore Seth Rollins versus Mustafa Ali when Seth was US champion? Because I was digging that. And again, because they just randomly turned Seth Rollins babyface, I don't get why still. And I still don't get why, because they had something intriguing with the Seth Rollins and Mustafa Ali feud. But instead, even though, of course, he's been, you know, selling like he used to when he was on 205 Live, they've made Mustafa Ali a personal punching bag. Which, again, I'm not too keen on, but they're still trying a story with Ali, but we'll see where that goes, of course. But apparently there's supposed to be a tag team in the tag team turmoil, but instead Dolph decided to face Solo. Then we get a hype reel for Bronson Reed. And of course, Miz rolls around as Bronson helped him win the ladder match against Dexter Lumis. But then he invites Bronson Reed to Miz TV. But Bronson's like, nah, there's no us. You gotta pay me if you want something. And then, of course, I was confused. I'm like, okay, so is this more so like this time, you know, it's revealing right away up front by a heel that Miz is now paying, you know, someone else to be his bodyguard since Dexter Lumis flundered with it, but strange, but we'll see. As I said, of course, the other week, the potential for Bronson Reed is outstanding. Like I said, I really was, before he got released from NXT in 2021, I really felt he was hitting his niche. Like, he was released right when he was really starting to get the momentum. But they released him, and I'm like, okay, why? But who knows? Dolph Ziggler had his match with Solo Sikoa. Solo beat him. Afterwards, the Usos came to celebrate. Afterwards, this and that. We also get a recap of Dominic Mysterio getting arrested on Christmas Eve, along with a recap of his Prison Changes a Man promo from the previous week, which was a pretty darn good promo. And of course, then that's when we had Bayley and Damage Control beat up Mia Yim backstage. Then we have Miz TV. And his first guest is Dominic Mysterio. With the Judgment Day coming out, and again, Dominic is wearing a flannel with shades and a purple bandana. Miz, though, apologized that he didn't have enough chairs for them. But then Dom's like, I learned in prison that you gotta run with your crew. and snitches get stitches. And Rhea and Finn tell him he's safe and he can share his experiences now. Dom says he was locked up with the most dangerous people and didn't know what his next meal was going to be. And it was push or be pushed. He did a lot of thinking and realized if he was ever going to see Mommy on the other side, he did what he had to do. And when life comes at you with crazy changes, you just gotta grab by the balls like Maurice does to Miz. And of course he gets the tiny balls chant. I'm like, stop it! Like, that's been going on for, like, what, 2 years now? Can we please move on from the tiny balls chants? But anyways, Damian Priest tells him the story about scaring a guy straight. And then Dom says he overheard his cellmate talking about wanting to punch him in his face. So he hopped down, slapped him awake, and that was that. He knows how Martha Stewart feels now, apparently. Miz said he was only in county jail for a few hours. And then Priest gets in his face, and then Miz is like, okay. You're wearing a $500 flannel, and then he asks him what's next. And then Priest threatens Miz, and Miz backs off. Probably thinking about that awful zombie lumberjack match they had back at, Backlash 2021, I believe it was? I think it was in the head of the zombie lumberjack match? Yes. But Dom is going to see them win the tag team turmoil tonight, and they'll be coming for the tag titles. And then we have the tag team turmoil, which the Judgment Day just went the whole way. They started off, they eliminated the OC, then they brought out Cedric and Shelton, basically the Hurt Business. I know a lot of people were hoping they would maybe give the Hurt Business the win. Here it says they're teasing a reunion, but nope, they didn't get past them. Judgment Day take them out as well. But then they also take out Alpha Academy, who the past 2 weeks, I don't want to confirm it yet, have been teasing more so of a babyface role. But during that portion, it looks like Finn had got crushed under the Vader bomb, and then Adam Pearce came out and gets the idea of to either forfeit or they have to have Dominic step in to replace Finn. And of course, Dominic steps in and replaces Finn. And then they then have the match of the Street Profits, just wait a little bit longer. And then Judgment Day pinned them as well. So Judgment Day again win the tag team turmoil, and next week on Raw, well, not not next episode we review, but next week, January 23rd on Raw is 30, they're going to be facing the Usos for just the Raw Tag Team Championship. You think maybe they may drop one of the titles? I'm getting that itch, but again, I feel they should hold them till Mania. Hold them until Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn dethrone them of both titles at Mania. I mean, yes, you can still do just one of the titles if you really wanted to at Mania, but I'd still say give them both. Give them both, why not? But yeah, Dominic, with his new look and, him getting a victory there. Again, like I said, his character work is definitely improved, but that was probably my highlight of Raw. The rest of the show was okay. I gave the show a C+. It was decent, but it wasn't the most exciting. Some filler in there, as I said before, but what do I know? But guys, that's going to do for last week's episode of Monday Night Raw, the January 9th, 2023 edition. I gave the show a C+. C+ for Raw. What are your guys' thoughts on Raw from January 9th in Birmingham, Alabama? And again, I will at some point soon this week do my Raw review from this past week last night as well. But just be patient, guys. I'm going to try my best to get caught up as soon as possible. But yeah, guys, make sure you guys leave your thoughts down in the comments section below. C+ for the January 9th, 2023 edition of Raw. And be sure as always to slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content on my channel. Follow me on Twitter at the Club with the Man 93. And be sure as always to shout for Meatball Sub. And follow me on TikTok at the Club with the Man 1993. Until then, guys, I'm checking out. I'll catch you guys all later. Have a great rest of your night. Peace out, buddy.
No